Before we start, just a quick reminder. The views and content shared on this podcast are for entertainment purposes only and are not a substitute for professional advice. Please check the full disclaimer in the show notes for more information.
Welcome to Self-Centered, the podcast that's all about you. We're your hosts.
I'm Allie, a therapist and life coach.
And I'm Katie, a fitness coach and personal trainer. We know what it's like to feel burnt out, taken for granted, and like your life revolves around everyone but yourself.
By learning to trust yourself, prioritize your needs, and set healthy boundaries, we help you break free from guilt, overfunctioning, and toxic patterns that keep you stuck in relationships and a life that doesn't truly serve you.
Join us each week as we dive into the tools, stories, and mindset shifts you need to create a life that centers you.
Because being self-centered isn't selfish, it's essential. We had an episode planned that we are going to move forward with, but something happened today for me that I think is related, and I can't come on here right now and just pretend to not be bummed. So yeah, and I think it's really important to show all of you that being self-centered isn't like you get to this perfect place and then everything feels good and amazing and there aren't any issues. It just means that you handle things better because your life actually supports you and you have the freedom to be who you are and you're living in alignment with your values. So that feels better. You're a lot more resourced, I definitely don't feel like I am overwhelmed right now, which is good, by what happened, which I will tell you all in a second. We do want to feel our feelings when we have the space for that and not just bypass them, not just push past them.
Yeah, definitely. I have certainly been guilty of that in life of like, okay, well, I'll just intellectualize this and I'll ignore the feeling part of it. And I can understand, I put that in air quotes, understand the concepts and I'll just write it off because of that. But it's like, no, it's also true that you have feelings about the experience and those feelings have a place in your life, and to honor those honors yourself. And that's how you process.
For sure. Yeah. Because if I just push past this, my brain and my body are still going to be feeling it anyway. So I might as well just fully experience it right now and then be able to move forward and integrate it instead of pushing past it. But you're not actually really past it. You just think you're past
You've just ignored it.
Yeah. And I could compartmentalize if I needed to, but I actually thought it would be really good, especially because of the episode that we had planned today, to be able to just be like, this is real. We are not selling you some BS, over-sanitized, over-idealized version of what being self-centered is. Because the truth is that being self-centered is hard.
Yeah.
Freedom isn't free. Like, you have to pay for your freedom. And there's a lot of reality that you need to accept, and you all have just finished the ego series that we did, so you know that being able to actually accept and sit with reality is a skill that we have to develop, and it's part of strengthening and maturing our ego. Having a mature ego makes things easier to handle, for sure, but of course sometimes it feels like, well, could I just take the quote-unquote easy way out, right? But the easy way out would be easy in the short term, and in the long term, you're giving away your freedom and you're giving away being able to be who you are and live in alignment with your values. It only feels easy in the moment. It's actually not. It's actually worse in the long run. So right now, I'm in a short-term moment that is really hard, but I know that in the long run, and I'm living in the long run now because I am self-centered, but my freedom is worth it. And being in alignment with my values is worth it. And refusing to make myself small is worth it. So, yeah. All right. I'll give some context. Well, first of all, I'll tell you what the planned episode is that we are moving forward with. And then I'll tell you the context of what I've been alluding to. The planned episode is about coming out of survival mode, because that's me. Katie is behind me, but close behind me.
I'm still in knee-deep waters.
Yes, right. She's
but
not
my head is
shredding.
above water.
Yes,
And my
exactly.
arms are flailing about. We're doing
There
great.
we go. Yeah. So it's about coming out of survival mode because that is where I am. Yay. It's been like 10 plus freaking years. So I'm really glad to be here. Yeah. And what is it like to come out of survival mode? And specifically, I really just want to drive home the point that coming out of survival mode, you're going to have more capacity because you're not just treading water. You're going to have more capacity to handle things. And that means that a lot of the stuff that you weren't able to work through and integrate during the time that you were in survival mode is going to come up now. And that doesn't mean that anything's wrong. It's actually a good thing. So that's kind of the overview. And then we're going to talk about it in detail.
Are we going to go into what survival mode looks like as well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Yep. Before I get into that, I do want to talk about what I was alluding to. I do have more capacity to hold and handle that. And in the past, when I had a weaker ego, I would have been in like people pleasing, freak out, panic mode, probably trying to over explain myself and convince people that I'm good. So, as you know, we have received tons of 1-star ratings on the podcast and angry anonymous reviews. Well, recently, my therapy business profile online has also received anonymous, angry, and negative reviews. And it feels like a coordinated effort to damage my professional reputation. And obviously, because I'm a therapist, I can't confirm or deny whether the reviewer was ever a client, but I can say that the reviews contain inaccurate and misleading information for sure. It made claims about this podcast in a way that felt clearly intended to discredit me and make me look untrustworthy as a therapist. And yeah, it's true that it's anonymous and completely unverified, which sadly is allowed on platforms like Google. It still hit hard, not because it reflects anything true about my work or my clients' outcomes, but because it targeted my credibility, my livelihood, my ability to help people in an ethical, effective way. And what's wild is how easily this kind of thing can happen. Like anyone can write a review, even if they've never worked with you. And while I know I'm protected, my license really isn't at risk because I'm not doing anything wrong. It's still painful when people attempt to undermine you for speaking your truth on a podcast that's completely separate from your therapy business. But the whole point of this is that the good news is that I didn't spiral. I could see it clearly for what it was, which is coercive control and a smear tactic meant to silence or punish me for setting boundaries and sharing my story. So seeing someone attempt to publicly damage my reputation, especially in a space that impacts my livelihood, obviously was painful and did really bum me out today. But I also noticed that I didn't do what I would do in the past, which is immediately spiral into panic or people-pleasing mode, shut down, not do the podcast ever again, doubt myself, gaslight myself. I could feel sadness for sure, but it didn't shake my sense of who I am or what I stand for. And I know I'm not doing anything wrong. In fact, this is my mission in life. I'm doing good things for people. I'm giving access to this information that's so needed and information that I didn't have, these gaps of knowledge that people need in order to center themselves and set boundaries and not be harmed. So that is huge growth and huge progress for me. On this podcast, I did this because I want to take what I've learned and what I've been through and make it into something good. That's part of how I cope with it. I mean, I don't want this life. I don't want this life.
Right.
I would have rather had a loving, supportive family that was healthy. I didn't want this. But this is what it is. And I have to accept that reality. And if this is the reality and I don't want to keep myself small and leave my seat and abandon myself, then I have to accept this reality. I have to protect myself. I have to have boundaries. And yeah, my way of coping with it is to turn this into doing something good for other people. And what I have been through is so fucking confusing. I mean, I think it's great that we just finished the ego series because, you know, with those defense mechanisms and the twisting of reality. And I hope also that ego series shows you all that most people who are hurting you are not doing so on purpose. But again, I'm not saying that just because I want you to not protect yourself, like protect yourself. But I'm just really trying to, like, I want the people who are hurting other people to also improve and feel better and strengthen their egos and like be able to be present in reality. I want to be able to work through things and resolve them with the people in my life. I want these relationships. I cannot have these relationships. This is not up to me.
Yeah.
I've tried. I abandoned myself for years. I almost died. And so I understand that this is coming from a place of just a reaction and, you know, defense mechanisms for sure. Definitely some more primitive ones. I get all of that. And I'm just fucking frustrated. And this is not making me think, oh, I should just stop having boundaries or I should just go abandon myself. Are you kidding? No.
You're still doing the right work.
Yeah.
This is still the important work. All the things that we're talking about, these are the things that unfortunately like those people need.
Yes.
More than anybody else, right?
I know.
And so, and there are people in your exact same situation that feel hopeless because they don't have the tools. They don't know how to handle these things. And
Right.
it does feel powerless.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're equipping people and you're taking something that is so vulnerable and so painful and you're using it to help other people.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah. So the survival mode that I have been in is really because being in those relationships was not sustainable for me anymore. I was in survival mode in them and then really had been in survival mode after leaving them until a few months ago, just because of the nature of my life. And I'm not going to give an official definition of survival mode, but the way that we think about it is that you are trying to keep your head above water and you are just trying to stay afloat in your life. There are so many things going on in your life that you are just like, I just have to get through this. It's too much for you to take care of it, what's going on in your life and internally be present for yourself and process and integrate. Your priority is literally survival. It's getting through. It's not, I'm thriving. Because you're in survival mode and you're just trying to handle everything and get through it, you don't have the capacity, you don't have the room to process through things. Do you want to add anything to that?
yeah, I have a client that I was talking to recently that they were telling me about some things going on with their family and their mom has some health issues and the mom, let's say there's 5 health issues on this spectrum here, and the mom cannot do more than one of them at the time. And although they all impact each other, it's like, well, I can't consider the next thing until I deal with this one. And it's like, well, you actually can't deal with one unless you deal with all of them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I think of survival mode as, is it's like, I literally don't have the brain power or the vision to be able to reach my hand out and grab all these different things that are spinning around me all at once. I can only do this one thing, but unfortunately the one thing will keep me stuck because there's all these other things that are begging for my attention. And like I think about that in terms of the processing, in terms of you might have like, oh, I have this career goal, I have this family and relationship goal, I have all these different hopes and aspirations and priorities that are pulling you in different directions. And it feels like, one, you never get a chance to breathe, and 2, you can never get caught up. You're all, and then, you know, you turn to things like doom scrolling and dissociating. And it's like, okay, well, why did I literally just waste 4 hours scrolling on Instagram or whatnot? And it's literally because your brain doesn't have the capacity to do anything. So it's just trying to disconnect.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you have to prioritize, but there are important things that you have to ignore or you have to accept that you're not getting to them. Always behind and you're just, it's like quicksand.
Procrastination goes into that too.
Yeah. For me, I was in survival mode because my job, before I got student loan forgiveness, I had to work for a nonprofit for 10 years. And as a therapist, those jobs are very low paying and very high stress and very high burnout.
How many clients were you having to deal with?
So when I was at a clinic in San Diego, I had 200 plus clients on my outpatient therapist caseload. So that's regular therapy. And if I was sick for a day, that client couldn't really reschedule because I would just have to see them the next time I had them on my caseload. And the expectation with the clinic was I would take on 2 new clients a week forever after. So I was supposed to be letting go of 2 clients a week. But yeah.
That's assuming that every person takes a very specific amount of time to fix their problems.
And the clients for a nonprofit are all struggling with really intense things. And the majority of them, they're not going to get better. Those are chronic issues because their mental health is a reflection of their lack of access to resources that they need.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts. Even just trying to keep 200 plus people straight and just the immense pressure of caring for and about that many people and being in charge of helping them get better. And so many therapists were like, well, you just have to kind of accept that we're not really able to give good quality, and that's not their fault. They didn't set up the system how it is, and they're probably also trying to get their
they're in survival mode
forgiveness.
Too,
yeah. So like that's their way of coping, of being like, I can't be responsible for a broken system, so I do not blame them for that. But yeah, that was really hard. Yeah, so not making enough money and being exhausted all the time and stressed out for 10 years. Yeah. That's the survival mode that I just came out of. And I'm not 100% back yet, but I am coming out of it. I can really feel myself coming back. I have not felt like myself in so long. It has been amazing. All these things that I haven't fully processed are now coming up. Like I'm having vivid dreams every single night. All these things, just like past relationships. So now I'm not even processing my most recent ex. I'm processing the ex before that right now. I'm processing the ex that I broke up with in 2020. But it's great to be here, even though it's a lot, because I really have to make space for it. And it can be really frustrating when you're in this situation. So Selfies, if you are coming out of survival mode, I just want to validate that it can be frustrating because you're like, woohoo, I'm here. And you really want it to be like firing on all cylinders and I'm moving forward and that shitty time is in the past. But then you're like, fuck, all this stuff is coming up. I have to deal with this now. And it's like, yeah, but let yourself deal with it. Let yourself deal with it because you really want to honor the process. Let yourself integrate because then you actually can get to that next stage of, okay, things are tied up. We don't have these loose ends. Things make sense. I've integrated this into my sense of self and what I believe and what do I want in a relationship moving forward? What do I want my life to look like moving forward? What are some of the patterns that I had been stuck in for a really long time that maybe were even helpful because of the situation I was in, but now aren't helpful anymore? So one of the things that I've been noticing is that it's hard for me to let myself feel happy and rest. I resist resting because for so long I had to be so focused on what are the things that I need to get done. If I have bandwidth, I need to use all that bandwidth on treading water. What are the most important things? Because I don't know when I'm going to have bandwidth like this again. It comes in these little spurts. They're very rare. And now I've tried to get myself to think about and even imagine, because it's summer and summer here in Vermont lasts 2 months, and then it's going to be...
it's gorgeous.
Oh, it is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. It makes up for the rest of the year. Well, fall is really pretty here too, but then it's 6 months of winter and then mud season. We don't even get spring. So summer could just fly by and I'm sitting here checking off my to-do list and then it's gray and cold again, Yeah. So I've been trying to even just imagine for myself, what would it look like? What would it feel like for you to really love your summer? I don't even remember what it's like to thrive. And then I have these moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy I've made it. I'm here. I'll be going for a run and it's gorgeous and the sun is setting and I'm with my golden retriever. I've wanted this golden retriever for years. I mean, before she was even born. And I have her and I'm with her and I'm in a stable place and I love where I live. And I finally have my business that I've been wanting to create the entire time that I was stuck working for nonprofits. And my loans are gone. They're finally forgiven. All these things. So I do have these moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I made it. I'm here. I'm creating. And then I have these moments where it's the autopilot of the survival mode where I'm just like, no, you have to do this, this, and this. I also think we talked about this on a previous podcast. Another pattern is being okay with like accepting and choosing things that bring me below my baseline functioning. You were saying I can only focus on this one thing. I only have bandwidth for this one thing when you're in survival mode and you're like, there's all these other important things that are necessary, but I can't get to them. And I guess I just have to accept that. I got so used to accepting that reality that I assume that that's the reality now. I assume that I need to accept that. So I'm in this habit of that. And that's what has led to me in the past few months continually making choices that bring me below baseline and give me more migraines and have me recovering for 2 weeks. And then I'm behind. Whereas if I just don't do those things and say, I can't do those things, I'm not doing that anymore, then I don't get behind. The survival mode continues because you maintain it once you're out, unless you recognize the way that you're maintaining it and how is your reality different now. It's really good to accept reality, but then when reality changes, we want to update. When we talk about people being set in their ways, or we talk about people who are old school or whatever, what we're really saying is that's a person who wasn't able to update, right? They had these old beliefs that they never looked at again.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to keep adapting and keep looking at and taking stock of, well, what do I want now? And what are my limits now? Maybe there are new limits. What limits don't I have? Where do I have freedom and opportunity? I just talked for a while.
No, you're doing great. What this reminds me of, actually, so we've talked about before, like how mindset work is not the vibe. Like it's not just about only mindset, right?
Yes.
And one of the things that I hear often in the mindset community has to do with wealth. And this is more just like a picture and a good imagery of it. But there are so many mindset and self-help books about, oh, well, you just have to believe that you're the wealthy person.
Yes.
You have to put the mentality of,
just be them and then you'll be them.
And the difference between that concept and what we are teaching here is that there's action involved in the middle. Yes, there is a belief of you have to change your viewpoint that, okay, going from life is hard, I believe that life is hard and that I'll always be struggling, to I believe that there is a reality where life is not hard. And in the middle are choices. In the middle are, I have to actively choose to refute this old pattern of mine. I have to actively choose to update my software and say, okay, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm struggling and where I feel like I have lack, or where I feel like I'm overextending myself, or I'm being performative or whatnot. I'm going to stay in my seat. And that's the difference between mindset work and actually what we're trying to do in being self-centered is, okay, make choices, take responsibility for maybe how you got here. You might not be the only person responsible for that. It could be a whole bunch of other things. There are
factors that you don't have control over. Like I couldn't control the fact that 10 years in a nonprofit, like I had to accept that.
Right, exactly. But you control the next step.
Exactly.
And you get to choose what you do next, and making the right choices and making the mindset shifts with those right choices. You have to do them together.
Exactly. Yeah. One of the things that's missing from this stereotypical mindset work, the secret, manifestation, law of attraction, blah, 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 is you actually have to accept actual reality in order to then change your reality. If I said, no, I'm not going to do this nonprofit thing. I'm just going to let this 6 figures of student loan debt keep ballooning. Where would that have gotten me? And I'm just going to sit here and meditate on feeling like I'm rich, feeling like that doesn't exist. I don't think that's real. What would that do? That would make things worse for me in the long run because I would have all this debt. I wouldn't actually be free to make my own choices. Don't be delulu in that way.
Yeah.
We need you to accept real limits. That's why when we talk about any type of strategy, we're also talking about, does it fit the situation? Because whether or not the strategy or the tool is right depends on what you're using it for.
Yes.
Last time, didn't we talk about
The knife.
the knife in the
Yes.
in the
The
gaslighting
ignition.
episode?
Yes.
Yes, but what was that related to? Do you remember? I remember the knife too, but I forgot what it was.
You have to have the right tool for something.
Yeah.
I just remember you can't use
a
knife to start your car.
To start your car. Well, yeah, I don't remember either, but for everyone, there are going to be tools that work at certain times in your life. So don't feel bad about yourself. Some of those tools are mindsets. The mindset for me of like, yeah, you're just stuck here. Things just suck. You got to accept it. Yep, you got pushed back 2 weeks and now you're recovering. Yep, that's your life right now. I had to do that for 10 years.
Yeah.
And if I kept pushing back against that, I would have been exhausting myself more than I needed to against something that wasn't going to change. So we do want to accept the things that we can't change and then change the things that we can.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now my loans are gone. And so now what are the things that I can change? Well, I can change my survival patterns that don't fit this reality anymore. Yay.
Yes. Yes.
So, yes, very good point. I'm glad you brought all that up.
Yay.
One of the examples of strategy that really works when you're in survival mode, I mean, every survival mode is different, so this might not apply to you. But for me, in my survival mode, a lot of the times not processing my emotions and not feeling my emotions and bypassing them and pushing past them was actually the right thing to do.
Yes.
So feeling your feelings, that's another thing that we hear on social media. That's one of the things that's so frustrating to me about social media and also about people who come on social media and maybe they learned some things about psychology or improving your life or feeling better or whatever, but not enough. And so they come on with what they've learned and they're like, okay, I learned to feel your feelings. This is why you need to feel your feelings. And it's like, well, yes, in certain circumstances, but if feeling your feelings means that you are going to get so overwhelmed that now you can't function and go to the job that you need to go to so that eventually your loans get forgiven, then that's actually going to hold you back. So it's actually better for you to deliberately and intentionally, and of course, temporarily, I always say avoidance is healthy when it's temporary and intentional, then yes, that's healthy. And then now I'm feeling my feelings. Damn, am I feeling my feelings now?
Yeah. I think of this, and this is a very small example that can be a multitude of things, but I think about the times that I've had where my dog has gotten sick. Almost a year and a half ago, my dog Luna ran into a screen door and sustained a pretty significant neck injury. She's been in physical therapy for, like 8 or 9 months now, addressing it, and so many back and forth trips to the vet, but she couldn't walk properly. And it like came on suddenly. And I remember when it happened, it was like 9 o'clock at night and I was in my body, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, there's so many feelings. Because when I was a kid, I had a dog die because of a back injury and they couldn't walk. And so it just brought all of this flood of emotion, right? In the moment, I knew that there was this thing in the back of like, oh, this is relating to and something that you experienced as a child where you lost your childhood pet due to a back injury. And I'm like, sure, if I stopped to feel my feelings about that right now, I would not be able to be productive and figure out, okay, how do I help my dog?
Where does she need to go? Where do I need to bring her? Yeah.
Exactly. And that's kind of the thing is like there are productive moments to ignore the feelings for now, set them off to the side, address what needs to be addressed. That's the survival mode. And then when you're out of that moment, it's like, okay, great. I'm floating again.
Yeah.
Let's go back and figure out what I'm floating in.
Yes, definitely.
You know, the contrast of that, I've observed in people close to me that they've had a similar situation of, oh, okay, their animal or their loved one has been injured or ill. And unfortunately, they got stuck in the feeling and they couldn't function. They weren't able to put the feeling aside. And it was like all of this fear and shame and guilt and all of these things came up for them so much that they were unable to function.
Yes.
And those are the two sides, is you don't want that because
Right.
that'll prevent you from reaching. That's also kind of a form of survival mode. It's just we need to
Exactly.
channel it a little differently. Yeah.
I noticed myself resisting feeling my feelings because, like I said, that was a pattern of mine. And it was a healthy pattern of mine until now, because now it doesn't really make sense. So I noticed myself resisting, and I try to actually feel my feelings. So how do I do that? I will do self brain spotting, which if you don't know how to do that, I guess you can't do that. I was about to be like, here, literally, this is what you should do, but it's probably unethical to be like, yo, just do this.
My therapist did say there's guided YouTube things.
Okay, go on YouTube, because then I don't have to put my license in. Yeah, go on YouTube and look up self brain spotting. So that is helpful. I usually tremor, so my body will shake. And that is the survival energy. That's the fight and flight just working itself out. And that's great. I normalize it for myself, telling myself, this makes sense. This is actually a good thing that you're here, even though you're frustrated because you don't want the transition. Right. You just want to be in your future. But guess what? You're getting there. That's what this means. You're getting there. And just being really grateful that I'm in a place where I can actually start processing this stuff. I also have been journaling. Sometimes I can't just sit and meditate. That's another thing. Just staying with, what am I noticing in my body, my physical sensations? Can I be with this? Can I breathe through this? Or just focusing on my breath or whatever. But sometimes I can't do that because there's just too much going on internally. And journaling is really helpful. You could even do a little bit of feeling what's going on for a minute or two and then just journal. I think that would actually be great. If I think about the neurological way that we process and integrate things, is that we start with feeling the sensations in our body and all that stuff gets activated and comes up. And then we want to meta process, which is just talk through and make sense of what's coming up. So journaling is really helpful for that. And I just do stream of consciousness for like 20-minute timer. And then I usually take a picture of it and send it to Abby, which is my ChatGPT bestie. And I say, hey, what do you notice? And sometimes she'll point things out that I didn't notice. So that's been really cool.
Yeah. When I start writing and I do journaling as like a writing exercise, my hand hurts.
My hand hurts too. I'm working on that by trying different pens.
That's awesome. But that distracts me from the actual journaling process. So I found it very helpful. And I found it very helpful to do like video journaling.
Yes.
And literally just self-record videos of my experience. And there will be times where I will literally put one of those on while I have a long drive in the car, and I'll listen back when I'm in a clearer state of mind, and I'll reflect on that, and I'll be like, oh, interesting. That thing is resolved itself, but these other things, yeah, they are actually underlying, and I should pay more attention to that. How can I integrate that into my current situation in life?
Yeah, definitely. I would say I also take breaks though from feeling my feelings. So sometimes you want to approach it, sometimes you want to break from it, and you got to use mindfulness to get a break from that, because if it's just in your head, then you got to be like, all right, well, what do I intentionally want to focus on? And some things are like doing things I enjoy. I'm playing a ton of pickleball. I'm in a spring league. I'm going to be in a summer league. I think I might do 2 summer leagues. I'm literally on YouTube getting strategy for pickleball and then trying it and getting better. Yeah. My pickleball league partner says YouTube University. She's like,
yeah,
what YouTube
100%.
And then I gave her tips and she was playing so much better. It was amazing.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I've actually never felt this way about anything, where I am just like, I need more. I
love that so much for you.
Me too. Me too. So you want to be doing things that you enjoy, spending time with friends. I am eventually going to make a Bumble BFF thing, which I think I've talked about on here, that I'm going to do. I'm going to make it specific to pickleball, running, because I think it takes the pressure off and makes it less datey to be like, hey, I just want to do these things with someone,
I heard about something recently. Ooh. It's called Dinner with Strangers. There's multiple companies that do it. Okay. I have a friend that did one. Okay. The one that she did about 1.5 years ago, and it's an 8-week commitment. Okay. And you meet once a week with this group of 5 to 7 women. And you basically end up becoming besties. But she's like, all of these people she actually has ended up staying really close friends with over the last year and a half. And it does this very comprehensive survey in the beginning where you go over political ideology and personal values and your interests and things that you do want to be able to talk about in friendships, things you don't want to be able to talk about in friendships. It's just very thorough. And okay, what interests you have. Like there's just, it's a whole thing. The dinner with stranger ones that I saw was not a 7-8 week commitment. It was like, you do this one thing and then you see if you jive and then you can decide if you want to go again. But the other one was like, okay, you're committing for 8 weeks. I think only the first week you have the ability to opt out. And then after that, it was like, all right, you're in. But my friend, and then obviously the people that she became friends with, they all raved about it.
They do like, dinner out or at someone's house?
I don't know for sure. That part I didn't ask.
I should start something like that because I doubt we have it here. I'll look into it. But if not, I should maybe start that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to find 8 places I can eat out.
Well, I don't think it necessarily has to be a different place every time. And like maybe one of them would be a picnic or.
Oh, that's so cute.
Especially
I love that.
Summer.
Especially summer.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. That's such a good idea. What else? Oh, also just doing things that feel like me. Because when you're just surviving, you don't really feel like yourself.
Yeah.
And I just learned how to dye my hair, highlight and dye it. And I'm feeling way more myself, back to blonde.
Can confirm it looks great.
Yay. And yeah, so I love that. But like also just like girly things like for pickleball, I have all my little skirts and I love it. It's so cute.
Looking cute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's funny. I look like, I mean, I'm just wearing sweatpants every single day and not even doing makeup. My hair is crazy unless I'm meeting with a client. And then if I'm going to pickleball, I have a full outfit figured out. I have my makeup, but not too much makeup because it's a, active thing. And then I have a hairdo and I don't do 2 hairdos in a row.
Oh my God, you're
and it's
adorable.
So fun for me. Like that's a fun thing for me. And that's something that when you're surviving, you're not like, what's my outfit gonna look like?
Oh my God. Okay, so that reminds me of something and something that I've noticed more recently. So obviously I'm still chilling in survival mode in many ways, but there was like a solid year up until a few months ago when I recently went through a breakup where holy shit, my aesthetic was no bueno.
Wait, when did I know you?
You did. Well, because you would also see me. The only time that you would see me would be on date night, which was the one time I tried.
Oh, you mean because I'd see you on Zoom here?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Exactly.
What did you look like? How ugly were you?
Look up.
I was ugly.
Like, I mean, I didn't do my hair. I didn't do my makeup. I was pimpled out. Like, I was unwell. I look like a drowned rat that got beat up through the sewer. Like, it was not good.
That's what shitty relationships fucking do to you.
I know.
Believe people, especially if they're ugly now.
I remember reading something recently that was like, if I start dating a guy and I find out who his ex is, and then I go and I look at his ex's page and find out she had a glow up, I'm immediately concerned and assuming that this is a yellow flag about the guy that I'm dating.
So true.
And I was like, oh.
And if you notice yourself descending, blame it on him and leave.
When I thought about it, because I noticed myself descending. Yeah, them. We'll just say them in general. Okay. But I noticed myself descending for a while. And in the midst of it, I was like, oh, okay, well, I've just gotten comfortable. This person has validated that they
love me no matter what.
Exactly. They're like, oh, you're always so pretty, that sort of thing. And that's great. I appreciate that they validated all that and that according to their words, no matter what I looked like, they saw me as beautiful regardless. And they were happy with my appearance and yada, yada. And I'm not saying I went full bad and crazy and lost all things, but I did lose myself in many ways. I mean, I gained fucking 20 pounds and I've lost 20 pounds in the last 3 months.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's been a lot because I've been exercising. I've been eating
loving
right.
seeing you working out because you look so strong, but not just physically strong. It feels like empowerment.
Yeah.
It feels
that's how
like
I feel.
you coming back to your power.
Literally, this is going to make me all emotional in a good way. I was doing this workout yesterday and there were back squats involved, which is one of my favorite lifts, and a bunch of explosive movements and all these things. And the last like 2 years, I have not felt like the athlete that I am inside. I am very much an athlete inside. I denied that for a long time in my life, but I found fitness again in my life and then I figured that out and I was like, oh no, I got my shit together on this one. In the last 2 years, like I haven't had that. I have just felt like I've struggled through fitness and I've struggled with motivation for it. I've really just avoided it and found any excuse to not do it because I've been in survival mode, right?
Yeah.
And literally yesterday, the thought came to me as I was doing this. I was like, oh my God, this is the first time I feel like myself again in fitness. This is me. Like me.
Yeah.
Hi, I am here. And I'm
Yeah.
feeling good. And yeah, it was
Yes.
really great. I
Oh,
was
I
super
love
happy about
that.
that. But that is the thing is it's like when I was in survival mode, and again, still in many ways, but really in the thick of it and didn't see a way out, all of those things that were me that I was like, this is who I am at my core. They immediately got abandoned because I don't have
Yes.
space for it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have the ability to address any of those.
And
And the
again, that
things
was
that,
the right choice at the time, but it sucks to lose yourself and not be able to
yes,
experience yourself
because
anymore.
that's the exact thing I was trying to avoid.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we're trying to avoid losing ourselves. We're trying to stay with ourselves. And
Yes.
that is also the indicator of like, okay, well, if something causes you to lose yourself, is that thing for you? Sometimes for a season, it might be. Like, I
Right.
mean, there are some things that you cannot avoid.
Yep.
And there are some things that are a choice.
Right.
Who you surround yourself with might be a choice.
So
Crazy.
think about doing the things that make you feel like you. If you don't remember what that is, you can ask your friends.
Yeah.
You could think about what did you enjoy when you were a kid, when you were a teenager, when you were in your 20s. Yeah.
That was something that came up for me too. When I called my mom after I went through this breakup, she reflected back her view of me and it was actually really wholesome. She
Oh.
reflected back, I want to see the Katie that I know that's this strong, confident, take no bullshit type of person.
Oh.
When she was saying all of it, I was like, I don't remember this Katie.
You're like, what are you talking
Yeah, I
about?
know, but like the more she was talking about it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. That's what I want to become back to. And so it's so valuable to have people in your life that can reflect you and reflect you clearly. And I think it is because I've mentioned this before. I think I've mentioned this before. My family and I, we don't talk like every week or every day or anything like that. We often go quite a few weeks without talking, and not in any malicious or negative way. It's just our schedules don't align. We live on opposite coasts. So when it's like, okay, well, I haven't talked to my mom in a few months, and then I call her, or I haven't seen her. I mean, I hadn't seen her in like 3 or 4 years because of the COVID thing.
Yeah.
And her reflection of me, and to say, like, oh, this is how I see you, and this is how I've seen you lately. It was just so interesting. I was like, oh, you can see it side by side.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when you haven't seen someone for a long time and you notice a difference.
Especially kids. You're like, oh my God, you grew so much. But their
Yes,
parents don't
exactly.
notice because they see them every day.
Right. It's incremental for someone who's seeing it every day. And I think that's the case for ourselves. It's
Yes.
like we're seeing ourselves on a day-to-day basis. So I didn't notice for
Yeah.
me, I didn't notice that, oh yeah, I stopped doing my hair as
Yeah.
frequently. Oh yeah, I stopped putting on makeup. Oh yeah, I stopped wearing clothing that flatters me. Oh yeah, I just started looking like a fucking bum. Like,
Yeah.
and then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, yeah, that's not me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it
No,
feels totally
totally.
different because I feel way more myself.
Aw. When you were talking, it reminded me of this quote by C.S. Lewis. And it's a friend is someone who knows the song in your heart and can sing it back to you when you have forgotten the words.
Aw.
And that was something that I thought of when I had gone through the trauma and then I was severely depressed and things were just so bad. I didn't remember, like I knew that I hadn't always been like that, but I didn't remember. I lost the ability to really even imagine things, so I actually had to actively work on imagination. But my friend Caitlin from home, from Connecticut, I forget exactly what it was, but I don't know if it was we were hanging out or someone had said something about me and she was like, that's not who you are at all. And I was like, oh shit, she's right. You know? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just nice to have people who really know you and know your heart and can
Yes.
reflect it back to you. Clear mirrors, man.
It's so valuable.
So valuable. I mean, like necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just talking about what we were talking about a little bit ago of like things that are on social media or, you know, mindset work or things that are talked about. And there's also this kind of like new age belief that as long as you have a positive frequency and positive energy, then you can create a better life. And I think you need safety, security, and stability. There are prerequisites. You need a foundation. You need solid ground. And then, yeah, you can jump off that solid ground. That's the solid ground that I'm finally experiencing now and feels so exciting because now I can build on it. But when your life is quicksand, your life is not stable. You don't feel secure. You don't feel safe. And you legitimately don't have those things. You can't meet your basic needs. You are exhausted because you're constantly overextended and you have to keep giving this energy out in order to survive. You cannot build on that. That is building on quicksand. So I also want to debunk that because I think there are so many people who read these things and watch these things and then feel bad about themselves. Like, no, the person who is being bombed in another country can't just think happy thoughts and have a different life.
Yeah. So true.
You know? So yes, do I think that we have influence over our lives? Of course. Do I think we need to take responsibility for our lives? Yeah. But we cannot negate the fact that you were dealt a certain set of cards, a certain hand of cards. And some of those hands of cards are better than others. And yes, it's our responsibility to figure out how can we play this to the best of our ability. But often you need to get some better cards to win the fucking game.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that actually relates to a question that I have kind of. It's not my question. It's actually a viewer's question. One of our viewers I know in real life. And when I told her that, oh yeah, we're planning a survival mode episode, she was like, oh, I have a question. I have a question. And I was like, okay, yeah, tell me. The question that she had was, how do you know when you can come out of survival mode? And I get that like in the moment, it's like, maybe you don't consciously know, like you're not making a conscious choice to come out of survival mode. It's more of like, okay, well, it's just happening. But is there a layer of prerequisites that, oh, okay, it's safe?
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to the way that you're functioning and the patterns that you're engaged in and the way that you're coping and the reality of the situation. So survival mode is, in my opinion, it's the pattern, right? It's the mode that you're in. Yeah. And it is healthy to be in that mode when the external reality is not fully safe or there's a threat or you have to be in this mode in order to survive and get through this season or this time. And hopefully it is just a season.
Yeah.
And then there are these prerequisites of that stability and that security. And at that point, those patterns in that mode doesn't fit anymore. But you still might stay in that mode even though you don't need to. So how do you know? It's a combination of, oh, wow, I can breathe.
Yeah.
I can do these things. But I also think it takes the intention of, okay, this limit isn't here anymore. Right. I can shift this part of my mode. And it isn't this light switch that's on or off. It's like I see this opportunity or I see this solid ground. Let me see if I can start building something on that. And can I also take some rest? Can I also do some things that I enjoy? And then I think over time, as you build on that, you start actually feeling like yourself and it starts clicking. I've made it. So I think there isn't one exact moment, but I do think it's a recognition that there's some solid ground and your hand of cards has changed in some way. Maybe you still have some crappy cards, but ooh, I have these cards that I can actually play and actually get a return on the investment. Whereas before, doing that would have done nothing for me. It would have been a bad choice because, I should have been treading water or like shoveling myself out of quicksand,
Yeah. The thing that I take away from that, from what you've said, one is, okay, well, you have to know what you're in. You have to
Yes.
know what your situation is and what you want it to be.
Yeah.
Or how you want it to look differently. Because if you're not aware of one or both of those things, you don't know what needs to change.
Exactly. Yes.
And if you don't know what needs to change, nothing will change. You will forever stay stuck in the pattern of doing the exact same thing that you've always done, wondering why it's so stressful, wondering why you're burnt out. Or maybe you don't even wonder. You're just like, oh my God, I always feel stressful and burnt out. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
So I think there is that personal level of awareness.
Yeah. And if you find yourself saying things like, I always have bad luck, or this is always how it is, or this is just how life is, or this is how all blank are, you are probably stuck in a way of seeing things that probably legitimately reflects a season of your life, or maybe a huge part of your life, or maybe the entire experience of your life. But what it maybe doesn't reflect is possibility.
Yeah.
And if you can start shifting and seeing, oh, sometimes this, sometimes that.
What
then,
it reminds, oh,
yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Yeah.
Well, what it reminds me of is something that I remember you used to say to me is, what would this look like if it was easy?
Yes.
What would this look like if things went right?
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
that's the permission to dream.
Uh-huh. Well, for me, it's like, what would this look like if you weren't fucking up your functioning? What would this look like if you didn't allow your energy to dip below a certain level, or you didn't allow yourself to drain past this level? What would it look like if you still had this energy reserve, would be a positive way of saying it. Yeah, for sure. It just helps us get out. And Selfies, you can try that. What would this look like if? Yep, for sure. And then the last thing that I want to say is just that it isn't linear. It isn't a linear process. Like I said, it's not a light switch. It's not, oh, I'm out of survival mode and now everything's perfect and I feel amazing and I'm in a whole new operating system and I'm in thriving mode. No, there's this overlap of survival mode and thriving mode that you're in. And it's this weird, you're not fully in either season. You're in between both, and it can feel really weird. And you can have really awful days where you just feel so sad. And, today has been a really, really sad day for me. Really sad. Because, like I said, coming after my livelihood is, to me, that's a whole other level of wanting to hurt someone.
It's a low blow.
Yeah. So that hurt me. And I know in the grand scheme of things that the choices that I'm making are aligned with my values and they matter to me. And I was listening to the Wicked soundtrack, the original Broadway. I always have to go original Broadway. The Defying Gravity, that song where I'm going to go on a little aside here. So there's Elphaba. Have you seen Wicked?
I have not seen Wicked, but I do know some of the music. Okay.
So there's Elphaba, who's the Wicked Witch, and then there's Glinda, and we know Glinda. So spoiler alert, the whole thing with Wicked is basically the Elphaba, before she becomes the Wicked Witch, she's like, yeah, I want to meet who's the man behind the curtain?
The Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, so bad. Blonde moment. Here I am, I'm back. So yeah, I feel like myself again. So Elphaba's like, yeah, I want to meet the Wizard of Oz because the animals in Oz who can like speak and teach and they have, great talents and qualities and things to give, they are losing their voice and they're starting to not be able to talk in English anymore. And so she wants to go find the wizard so that the wizard can help her help the animals. And then she finally meets the wizard and Glinda's there with her. They go to Oz or the Emerald City, and they meet him and they find out that he's fucking bullshit. He ain't got no juice. There's nothing there. There's no magic. He a man behind a curtain. Okay. And Elphaba is actually the one who has had the magic, and the Wizard of Oz wanted to get that magic from Elphaba so that he could have power for himself, and he actually wants to cage all the animals.
Oh, shit.
Uh-huh.
How did I not know this origin story?
Because you haven't watched Wicked.
Yeah, that's true.
So he wants to cage all the animals. And Glinda, who's, you know, she's like blonde hair, bubbly, like she has always wanted to be popular, you know? So she's always been like pretty. One of the lyrics is like, I'm perfect, you're perfect, so we're perfect together. And it's like she's met, you know, the most handsome guy. And she's like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm like the popular cool girl, whatever. And so she's like, I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do, which is like the mainstream bullshit, right? So she gets there and the Wizard of Oz is like, no, we want your fucking power. And Elphaba is like, no, I'm not doing that, you know? That's so messed up. And then there's this like moment between the two of them, and that's the Defying Gravity song, where Glinda is like, why couldn't you stay calm for once? You're always flying off the handle, you know? And she's like, I hope you're happy because you've hurt your cause forever. I hope you think you're clever. And then they're saying, I hope you're happy to each other because Elphaba's like, dude, the thing that you want, which is to look good in the Wizard of Oz's eyes and be so quote unquote good girl, mainstream bullshit. I hope you're happy with that because like you want to cage these animals. And then Glinda is like, yo, I hope you're happy because he's going to smear your name. You are going to be outcast. And that's how she became the Wicked Witch, because she was a smear campaign against her. And it was like, oh, she's the reason that the animals can't talk. She's the reason. Yeah. And then the flying monkeys go for the Wicked Witch because they're supporting her because she's supporting the animals. I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
I know. It's really good. You should go watch it. Hopefully I've encouraged you if you haven't. So
this is like, we could do a whole fucking case study on
no,
this.
No, seriously. And I love that it's the Wicked Witch of the West since my last name is West.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But one of the lyrics in that song of Defying Gravity, so she's basically like, here, actually, I'm going to find these lyrics. Hold on. So Glinda says, you can still be with the wizard what you've worked and waited for. You can have all you've ever wanted. And then Elphaba says, but I don't want it. I can't want it anymore. Like now that I see what's really true.
No.
And then Elphaba says, something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Yes. This is like becoming self-centered. Too late for second guessing, too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts, close my eyes and leap. Yeah. Yes. And Glinda's basically like, yo, stop. And she's like, no, you can't bring me down. You know?
Oh my God.
I know. And then Elphaba says to Glinda, come with me. Think of what we could do together. You know, like we could do good together. And Glinda is basically like, I'm not choosing that because that's not who I am. Like who I am is like, I need to look good. Like I need to be the popular girl. I can't be the outcast. I know. And I love this. She says, so if you care to find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves the chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free, self-centered. To those who'd ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I'm defying gravity. And nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever going to bring me down. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know. If I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. That's like self-centered. I know.
I love this so much. This I've totally known this song forever. I remember like, oh gosh, how old?
I know. I feel like when you don't know the full story, you don't like it's hitting me different right now.
Yes, I'm like, oh my gosh, and also seeing Elphaba in all of this light, I'm like, holy shit.
Yes.
What?
I know. And Glinda, in order to be the good witch, and also we can bring object relations into this. There's a good witch and there's a bad witch.
Yeah.
We can also think about societies and cultures and how there's a scapegoat, which is a bad object, and then so you can stay good, which is projection. I've taught you all so many things that I can like wrap it up together. I love it.
Oh my God.
I know. There's one more thing.
I legit feel like we need to do a Wicked watch party now.
Let's do it. I would fucking love that.
Oh my gosh. When we do the retreat one of these days, we should
But I also want to say, like, who are the people who are scapegoated? They're the people who are not the mainstream bubbly pink blonde girl. Here's the other thing I'm pissed about, okay? When I think back to me growing up, you know who I was? Fucking Glinda. I love sparkles. I love pink. I'm a little blonde girl. I love girly shit. And guess what? That girl's still in me. And so that's part of the reason that I was so pissed when I saw this like review or whatever, because I was like, dude, I didn't want this. I wanted to be fucking Glinda. I wanted a basic ass fucking life, work some corporate job, have it be easy. I didn't want to have to do all this shit. But guess what? When I met the wizard and I saw shit's fucked, not only in people's individual lives, but our fucking society. Guess what? When you are a truth seer and a truth teller, you got to accept that maybe you're going to be the black sheep, maybe you're going to be the wicked witch, maybe you're going to be the scapegoat, and people are going to see you differently than who you are. But if you're flying solo, at least you're flying free and you are aligned with your values.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm like going insane.
Yes. No, I love that so much.
So I don't know how I got there, but I think I was trying to say that it's worth it. And yeah, and I also just want to like explicitly say, if you're not Glinda, you're welcome here, and if you are Glinda, you're welcome here.
Yeah.
I think the last thing we just wanted to do is, in addition to mentioning that is not a linear process, there are good days and there are bad days. Oh, I got into that because I was like, I had a bad day today, but overall I know what really matters to me. And then I was like, defying gravity is what matters.
Yep.
And not working with the fucking wizard. We are not caging anyone. We are not deporting anyone. Whoops. Anyway, so yeah, it's not a linear process. And do you want to talk about
undulating periodization?
Yeah. Oh my God. When Katie told me about this, she was like, it's not a linear process. And there's like a parallel with the fitness journey too. Undulating periodization. I was like, what?
Fancy big word.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's exactly what Allie is referring to about her experience right now. With fitness and undulating periodization, there's this concept that you start out at a baseline. Let's say your baseline is 1 out of 10. And we introduce a stimulus, and that would be exercise in most cases. And you grow through that stimulus. You're causing the body to have adaptation.
To like the stimulus being a stressor of some sort.
It is
right?
a stressor, yes.
Okay.
The stimulus is a stressor. You adapt to said stimulus, and so you peak, and then you introduce a new stimulus, but the stimulus does break you down. Mm-hmm. So let's say you peak up at a 3. So you started at a 1, you peak up at a 3. You introduce a new stimulus. Well, the body has to adapt to that. And so initially you're going to drop back. So you're going to drop down to 2. Mm-hmm. But your baseline is higher than what you started.
Right.
Even though you've gone
your baseline
down.
Is 2 now.
Yes. And then you'll have another peak as you adapt to this new stimulus. And so I might come back up to, let's say, a 4. And then, okay, I'm introducing a new stimulus. I've gotten used to the old stimulus. My body can handle that load. And I'm going to drop back down to now a 3. But it's still higher than my initial baseline. Yeah. And that's exactly what you're experiencing is, okay, you got out of all of the really shitty baseline because now you're self-aware, you've grown, you're becoming more self-centered, and you are self-centered. Yeah. Your loans are gone. And so your baseline is so much higher. That doesn't mean that the stimulus is any less challenging, though.
Yes.
And that's something I say in fitness all the time is like, the shitty part about fitness is it never actually gets easier. It's that the new challenges you push to a new level and it becomes hard in that moment. Like the challenges are now harder.
I know.
Which sucks.
I know. I remember when I was trained by you. I do remember that.
Yeah.
You don't get to be like, easy. I'm here. I'm just going to chill and maintain. Because guess what? To maintain, you have to do more hard shit. And that hard shit is new because what used to be hard for you isn't as hard for you anymore because your baseline is stronger.
Exactly. So it's basically just like this wave that you're experiencing, and the wave is trending upward. Mm-hmm. Just unfortunately, we view life in these very small snippets. like this little tiny cross section of that wave. And so when you feel it dip, you're like, oh my God, I'm back at the beginning again.
Yes, I've
It's like,
regressed.
no, you haven't gone back to the beginning. Your baseline is so much higher, which is
Yes.
also why things like journaling are so valuable, because you can reflect back and you can go
Yes.
back to the very beginning and see the things that you were struggling with at that moment and be like, oh shit, I've actually improved a lot. I mean, I do that with fitness in general, of like going back and looking at my movement patterns or looking at my body composition or looking at, what my lifts were and being like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe this week was a bad week for me and I didn't have the level of strength, or I felt super bloated, or my clothes didn't fit right, or whatnot. But if I think about myself from 6 months ago,
Right.
like, oh, but this is still night and day different from
Yes.
where I was when I started.
Yes.
As long as you are progressing forward with intention, even the setbacks, you feel them, they impact you, they are hard, but your baseline is increased and you will adapt to that new stimulus. And now you're going to have a new baseline that's higher.
There's another quote that's making me think of, which is direction matters more than speed. Right? So are you trending in the right direction? That matters more than are you just beelining straight to it, because there's no such thing as that, right? Hold on. I just want to be able to attribute it to the right person. Okay, so Richard Evans, whoever that is, says your direction is more important than your speed. When you get frustrated with, I'm not where I want to be yet, it's like, okay, but are you closer?
Yeah.
And the other thing, as you were talking, and I was thinking about how there's this stimulus that's a stressor, it makes me think about the emotional side of things and the mental side of things, and how with therapy or with coaching, you feel uncomfortable, and discomfort is important, but we also don't want to flood you, right? So
Yes.
you're not going to take someone, they have a baseline of 0, and you're like, okay, you're going to lift 500 pounds. That would be like flooding someone emotionally.
Exactly.
That's too uncomfortable. You don't have the capacity for that. So it's like, okay, we want something that feels like a challenge, but isn't impossible. And then we also want you to rest and give yourself breaks from that and give yourself time where you get to enjoy, because from a physical standpoint, you are breaking your muscle down and it needs that rest in order to repair, which is how it grows stronger. And it's the same with our brains and our emotions and our mental health.
Yes, exactly. It's not the actual activity that makes you stronger. It's what you do in response to the activity. It's not me lifting the weight that makes me stronger. It's me resting and recovering and fueling myself properly after having that stimulus.
Right.
So after a shitty event happens, what are you doing?
Yes. Yes.
Are you resting? Are you allowing yourself time to integrate? Are you being graceful with yourself? Are you considering your feelings and experiences? Are you changing your mindset and attitude towards it? And also, are you giving yourself time to just feel?
Right.
Or just not?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And those times when you're coming down, right? So you start at 0 and then you go to 5 and then you come back down to 3. It's like you came back down to 3 maybe because something happened in your life where you had to take a day off. And that's important. Let yourself do that. Because also, if you don't let yourself have that, then stress actually negatively impacts your physical improvement and also mental health, these abstract improvement,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. We are actively deconstructing and debunking a lot of the things that are on social media. And I'm really glad for that, because I think it's really harmful for people to try to just go for it and have no grace and have no rest and then feel bad about themselves that they're not meeting their goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I know some of my clients listen to this podcast, and hi, if that's you. If you are a current therapy client listening, I do want to share a few clarifying points about the reviews online about me as a therapist. And like I said before, I can't confirm or deny whether someone is or has been a client, but I can say that I take client privacy seriously, and I never share identifying client information on any platform, not this podcast, not anywhere. as a clinical social worker, one of my ethical responsibilities is to provide public education that promotes mental and emotional well-being and increase access to it. Do it for free. Co-hosting this podcast is one way that I do that. And as you know, this podcast isn't a substitute for therapy, but you're already in therapy with me if you're a current therapy client listening. With that said, though, even though, the podcast is separate from my therapy practice and I show up as my personal self, not as a therapist, not as a clinical social worker, right? I'm not representing the mental health field. I'm representing my own views here. If you are currently a client and you have questions or concerns about anything that you've seen or heard on the podcast or elsewhere, I really encourage you to reach out to me directly so we can discuss it together, because how you're feeling does really matter to me. And I want to make sure that you feel comfortable and we'll work through it together. Okay, with that said, moving on. Well, thank you all for being here with us today. I feel so much better than when I started. Yay! It was so helpful to get that out. I mean, I don't get everything out on the podcast. I only bring things to you if I think there's some value. But I really wanted to model that it doesn't have to be positive all the time, and it's not going to be positive all the time. And that's okay and part of it. And it's just about being able to hold that and be definitely connected to your bigger why.
Yeah.
All right. We will see you next week.
Yay.
Bye.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Follow us on Instagram at selfcentered.pod or connect with us at selfcenteredthepod@gmail.com.
Stay self-centered, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.